You're the strong one, the reliable one, the one who keeps calm, keeps moving, keeps smiling. But when the noise fades, when you're alone, the cracks start to show. You replay that conversation. You regret how you reacted. You wonder why you feel so drained, and no one even noticed. They say you're composed, but you're exhausted from pretending to be. The Stoics never taught us to hide pain. They taught us to face it, shape it, and master it. In this video, you'll learn 10 Stoic habits that make you emotionally stronger, not by hiding your emotions, but by handling them with wisdom and power. The first habit is this: start your day by identifying what you can control. It sounds simple, but most people skip this and pay the price all day long. You wake up, check your phone, and your mind's already hijacked. Work stress, news, messages, that old unresolved issue from yesterday still looping in your head. By 9 a.m., your energy is already fractured, scattered across 1,000 thoughts, many of which you can't change. The Stoics saw this clearly. They taught that everything in life falls into two categories: what's within your control and what isn't. And the moment you confuse the two, you surrender your emotional freedom. So how do you reclaim it? By beginning each day with a quiet scan. What do I actually control today? Your mindset, your actions, your words, your tone, your effort. Not how people will respond. Not whether things go perfectly. Just your side of the equation. When you anchor your attention there, even for 1 minute, something subtle but powerful happens. You stop bracing against life. You start steering through it. This isn't just philosophy. It's emotional conservation. Worrying about a colleague's reaction? Not in your control. Obsessing over whether your work will be praised? Also not in your control. Choosing to show up prepared, calm, and focused, fully within your hands. And that's what Stoic resilience is, a daily practice of redirecting your power inward. Because what you give your energy to shapes your emotional landscape. Here's a practical way to begin. Before you check your phone tomorrow, sit for 60 seconds and ask, where will I focus my energy today? What's truly mine to influence? You might be surprised how that tiny pause reclaims your center. Think of it like tuning an instrument before you play. If you don't, you'll hit the wrong notes all day and wonder why everything feels off. And when chaos hits, as it always does, you'll be prepared. Because you've already drawn your line. This I can control. That I release. Over time, this habit builds not just clarity but strength. You stop wasting energy trying to bend the world to your will. Instead, you start living in alignment with reality. As Epictetus put it, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. So, ask yourself each morning, do I want to feel powerful today or powerless? Because the answer lies in where you place your focus. You ever snapped at someone and immediately knew it wasn't about them? Maybe it was your partner asking a simple question, or a coworker offering feedback. You felt the fire rising before you could stop it. And then came the guilt, the regret, the awkward silence. It's not that you're a bad person. It's that you've been running without breaks. That's where the second habit comes in. Practice the inner pause. In the heat of emotion, most of us think we're responding to the situation, but often we're just reacting from a backlog of stress, wounds, and unprocessed tension. The Stoics knew, emotion is not the enemy, impulsiveness is. There's power in pausing. A split-second breath between stimulus and response is where your true strength lives. Instead of lashing out, you breathe. Instead of shutting down, you sit with the discomfort. It doesn't make you passive. It makes you deliberate. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." But reacting isn't the same as choosing. Reacting is mechanical. choosing is sovereign. Here's how to build this pause. Feel it rising. The surge of irritation, shame, defensiveness. Anchor your breath. One slow inhale, one slower exhale. Ask, what would my calm self do right now? You're not denying emotion, you're just refusing to let it drive. And over time, this micro pause rewires something deeper, your sense of self-trust. Because when you can pause, you can choose. And when you can choose, you regain authorship of your life. But here's the twist. You can't pause what you refuse to admit. That leads us to the third habit. Be honest with yourself. Not the polished version of honesty where we say, I'm just tired. No, the raw version that whispers, I'm jealous, I'm insecure, I'm scared to lose control. We spend so much energy pretending we're not bothered, pretending we're over it, pretending we don't care when we care deeply. And all that pretending becomes pressure, silent, corrosive pressure that breaks us from within. The Stoics didn't sugarcoat human nature, they embraced its mess. They saw flaws as material to be shaped, not shame to be buried. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private reflections, be tolerant with others, strict with yourself. That's not cruelty, that's clarity. Self-honesty isn't self-judgment, it's self-ownership. It's sitting down and saying, okay, here's where I messed up. Here's the fear behind that anger. Here's what I've been avoiding. When you do that, when you speak the unspoken inside you, you stop being a stranger to yourself. And something remarkable happens. Your inner world becomes simpler. Your reactions become cleaner. Your decisions become clearer. Because now, you're not just reacting. You're seeing. So how do you practice this? Each night, ask, what did I feel today that I didn't name? What emotion did I hide from and why? What truth am I afraid to admit, even to myself? Write it, whisper it, walk with it. It might sting, but it will never destroy you. Lies do that. Denial does that. Truth doesn't. Truth sharpens, refines, strengthens. So start pausing before you react, and start telling yourself the truth before the world forces you to. That's where emotional sovereignty begins. Some people go to bed exhausted from the day. Others go to bed exhausted by themselves. Not because they did too much, but because they never paused to understand why they did what they did, or how it really made them feel. That's where strength quietly leaks away. Not in the chaos of life, but in the lack of reflection. The fourth habit is simple but powerful. Reflect on your day. Before sleep, don't just crash. Pause, rewind, observe. The Stoics, especially Marcus Aurelius, practiced this nightly. He didn't do it to judge himself. He did it to see himself clearly. He would ask, what did I do well today? Where did I fall short? What emotion guided me, and should it have? Because how can you steer your life if you never check the compass? Think about it. If you yelled at someone today, do you know what really triggered it? If you stayed silent when you should have spoken, do you know what you were afraid of? If you kept pushing through work without feeling anything, do you know what you're numbing? Reflection isn't self-criticism, it's self-alignment. It's standing in front of the mirror of your actions and not looking away. Here's how to do it. At the end of the day, sit with yourself for 5 quiet minutes. Ask, what emotion dominated me today? Did I act out of wisdom or out of impulse? What can I do differently tomorrow with clarity, not guilt? You don't need a journal, though it helps. You just need honesty and presence. Because without reflection, life becomes repetition. And repetition without awareness is emotional erosion. But there's another piece to this. Something even more subtle. The 5th habit. Practice daily gratitude. Now, before you roll your eyes, this isn't about positive vibes only. Stoicism isn't naive optimism. It's about perspective. When you train your mind to recognize what's already right, you create an emotional buffer against everything that feels wrong. You stop chasing fulfillment outside of you. You start seeing how much of it already exists inside your day. The Stoics understood this. Seneca wrote, "No man is poor who has enough of what he truly needs." Gratitude isn't about pretending everything is great. It's about anchoring yourself to something even when life is rough. A hot meal, a quiet moment, a friend who texted you just to check in. These aren't small things. These are emotional weights that keep you grounded when storms hit. Here's a simple practice. At the end of your daily reflection, name 3 things you're grateful for. Write them, say them. Doesn't matter how small. I'm grateful I didn't yell back today. I'm grateful for that 5-minute walk. I'm grateful I caught myself before spiraling. Why does this matter? Because your nervous system is constantly scanning for threat. Gratitude reminds it of safety, of sufficiency, of life's quiet gifts. Over time, gratitude and reflection become the rhythm of emotional stability. You notice patterns. You shift gently. You begin to see yourself not as broken, not as perfect, but as someone who's steadily coming home to themselves. And that is real strength. So tonight, when the noise dies down and the lights go off, don't scroll, don't distract. Just sit. Ask, what did today teach me? What am I proud of? What am I thankful for? Because the answers to those questions are what tomorrow will be built on. Letting go sounds peaceful until you actually try it. Then it feels like grief, like failure, like something inside you is being torn from your grip. But here's the truth. Most of what's weighing you down isn't holding you. You're holding it. The 6th habit is this. Learn to let go. We all lose things. Relationships, jobs, dreams, plans we built our identity around. And we're told to move on, like that's something you can just do by force of will. But Stoicism doesn't offer platitudes, it offers a framework. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." To the Stoics, nothing truly belongs to us, not even the people we love or the roles we play. Everything is on loan, and life has the right to reclaim it at any time. It's not cruel. It's honest. The pain doesn't come from the event. It comes from the attachment. You didn't just lose a person, you lost the version of yourself that existed with them. You didn't just get rejected, you lost the narrative of how life was supposed to go. That's what makes letting go so hard. It feels like death, not just of something external, but of a part of you. But what if that death is where your new self begins? Because clinging doesn't preserve you. It paralyzes you. You replay the argument. You reread the old message. You imagine what you should have said, what could have been done differently. And all the while, life is trying to move forward, but you're stuck holding the door to a room that's already empty. Letting go doesn't mean it didn't matter. It means it mattered, and now it's over. And you get to matter again. To someone else. To a new dream. To yourself. The Stoics practiced this mentally every day. They would remind themselves that nothing is permanent. Not health, not status, not even life itself. And because of that, they trained for loss in advance, not to become cold, but to remain capable. This is what they called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of loss. Not to dread it, but to prepare for it with grace. So how do you practice letting go? Not by numbing, not by pretending you don't care, but by acknowledging what was, then asking, is this still serving me? Or am I just afraid of who I'll be without it? Write a goodbye letter. Speak the words you never got to say. Cry and let the tears be movement, not paralysis. Then close the door gently, not with bitterness, with reverence. You don't have to forget, but you do have to stop feeding the illusion that holding on will bring it back. Letting go creates space. Space for healing. Space for new connections. Space for a version of you that doesn't live in the shadow of what was lost. It's not easy, but it's freedom. And freedom, not comfort, is the soil of emotional strength. So today, take one small step. Unfollow. Delete. Admit. Release. Say, this chapter mattered, but it's not my whole story. And then, turn the page. Because the next part, it's waiting for you to make space. You're not overwhelmed because life is too full. You're overwhelmed because too many things feel urgent and none of them feel meaningful. You jump from one task to the next. Inbox, notifications, people needing something. And at the end of the day, you collapse, wondering, what did I even do today? That's not productivity. That's emotional leakage. The seventh habit is this. Set clear priorities. It sounds obvious, but most people don't live by priorities, they live by pressure. They let the loudest voice win, the most demanding message, the next calendar block. And when that happens, your life becomes reaction, not direction. The Stoics refused to live this way. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, if it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it. He knew that not every task is equal. Not every voice deserves your attention. And not every opportunity aligns with your values. So how do you find your true priorities? Ask this. What will I never regret giving my time and energy to? What strengthens me, even when no one else sees it? That might be family, health, craft, deep work, silence. Whatever it is, identify it. Then ruthlessly protect it. Don't let your day be hijacked by default. Set 3 priorities max each morning. Then, when interruptions come, and they will, you can decide with clarity, does this align with what I said matters today? Or is it noise? And that leads us to the 8th habit, protect your mental space. Because even if you know what matters, you still have to defend it. You still have to protect your emotional bandwidth from overcommitment, constant input, and the subtle addiction to stimulation. Modern life is designed to fracture your focus. Apps, messages, the 24-hour drama cycle. All of it pulls you away from your own clarity. You don't need to respond to everything. You don't need to consume everything. You don't need to carry every opinion in your head. The Stoics called this ataraxia, a state of undisturbedness. Not indifference, but inner stillness. It's not about withdrawing from life. It's about choosing what enters your field. Think of your attention like a garden. What you allow in will grow. What you neglect will rot. So, here's a daily practice. Start with silence. No phone for the first 30 minutes of the day. Audit your inputs. Unfollow. Mute. Unsubscribe. Ask, does this make me better? Create mental buffer zones. 15-minute breaks with no screen, no noise. Just breathe. Because when your attention is scattered, so is your emotional resilience. But when your space is protected, you gain room to think, to feel, to choose. And in that space, your priorities take root. They become not just tasks, but anchors. Reminders that you direct your energy, not the world around you. So today, choose 3 things that truly matter. Then make space for them in your schedule, in your head, and in your heart. Because strength isn't built by doing more. It's built by doing what matters and protecting it with everything you've got. You don't have to respond to everything. But somewhere along the way, you started believing you do. Someone criticizes you, you feel attacked. News breaks, you feel anxious. Someone else's urgency becomes your emotional burden. And now your nervous system is on call 24/7, reacting to things that have nothing to do with your purpose or your peace. The ninth habit is this: practice mental detachment. Not detachment from life, but from the illusion that everything needs your attention. You see, there's a difference between being aware and being emotionally entangled. The Stoics mastered this. Epictetus said, "It's not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them." You get to choose what you absorb. You get to choose what enters your mind and what stays outside the gates. This isn't about being numb. It's about being selective. Mental detachment is saying, yes, that exists, but it doesn't own me. Yes, that happened, but I don't have to carry it. It means not letting someone else's bad mood shape yours. It means not tying your worth to outcomes, opinions, or noise. This detachment doesn't make you cold. It makes you clear. Clear enough to see where your influence ends and where your responsibility begins to yourself. Try this. When you feel pulled into someone else's energy, ask, "Is this mine to carry?" When a negative comment lingers in your mind, ask, "Do I need this, or am I just used to clinging to it?" When you're overwhelmed by headlines and chaos, ask, "What can I actually do right now that makes a difference?" This is how you create inner boundaries, invisible but unbreakable. And once that space is protected, you can fill it with something stronger. The 10th habit is how you do that. Set a daily purpose. Too many people wake up and hand their day over to chance. No anchor, no intention. Just reacting to what shows up. But purpose doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be yours. A small, clear why that shapes your how. Marcus Aurelius began each day by reminding himself of his values, his duties, his reason for showing up not just to survive, but to live with integrity. He wrote, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts, and the quality of your thoughts depends on the direction you give them." So here's the practice. Each morning, ask yourself, what matters today? What would make this day feel lived, not just spent? Then set one sentence of purpose. Today, I will respond with patience. Today, I will do deep work without distraction. Today, I will forgive myself and begin again. That's it. One line, one light to walk toward. It gives shape to your energy. It filters what deserves your time. And it gives your emotional world a North Star. Because without purpose, your emotions will follow the strongest pull: fear, drama, validation. But with purpose, you lead. You don't need a perfect day. You need a meaningful one. And that comes from clarity. So tomorrow morning, before you touch your phone, before you speak to anyone, sit in stillness and ask, why do I exist today? What matters truly for the next 16 hours? Let the answer guide you. Because purpose, when practiced daily, doesn't just give direction, it gives you back to yourself. Emotional strength isn't about having no emotions. It's about no longer being owned by them. It's not about becoming untouchable. It's about becoming unshakable, because you've trained your mind to pause, to see, to choose. Let's take a breath and look back. You've learned to start your day by focusing on what you can actually control. You've learned to pause, to step between feeling and reacting. You've dared to tell yourself the truth. You've carved out 5 quiet minutes to reflect. You've remembered the power of gratitude even when life isn't perfect. You've faced the pain of letting go. You've learned to protect what matters. You've defended your mental space from chaos. And you've begun living each day with intention, not inertia. That's not a to-do list. That's a blueprint for becoming emotionally sovereign. Because this world, loud, fast, and reactive, constantly pulls you away from yourself. But Stoicism pulls you back in, back to center, back to the place where you decide how you move through life. And that's the real transformation. You stop trying to control the storm, and instead, you become the calm inside it. There's a quiet power in living this way. You start noticing what others miss. You stay grounded when others spiral. You forgive faster, focus deeper, and perhaps most important, you stop being at war with yourself. The Stoics didn't give us rules. They gave us reminders of what we already know but keep forgetting. That peace isn't found, it's trained. That clarity isn't given, it's built. That freedom begins inside, not outside. And these 10 habits, they're not magic, they're muscle. Habits you build, slowly, daily, through friction and repetition, until one day, you notice that the chaos no longer controls you, that your inner world, once scattered and stormy, now has weight, shape, direction. That's how emotional strength is born. So let me leave you with this. Start small. Pick one habit, just one. Maybe it's writing your daily purpose each morning. Maybe it's 5 minutes of reflection at night. Maybe it's the pause before that next difficult conversation. Whatever it is, commit to it this week. Let it anchor you. Because emotional strength isn't something you wait for. It's something you build. And it's built today. If this helped you reconnect with your emotional core, hit subscribe and let me know which habit you'll practice this week. We're all in this together. One decision, one breath, one habit at a time.